All right, so tonight we are going to be learning the teachings of Tzadok Milublin, and this week's Parshat Shmini. And the truth is, we're going to be learning about a lot of things. We're going to be learning about the Geula, about the Tikkun. We're going to be learning about Shabbos. We're going to be learning about the Avot, and it really starts. Its connection to the Parsha is a little bit is interesting. That what's unique about this week's Parsha is this is the middle Parsha of the entire Torah. That we have in the Chumash that it says that the early sages, they were called Sofrim. Sofrim means to count, because they were into counting. And so they counted, and they noticed that Parshat Shmini is the middle Parsha, not in Parshas, but when it comes to the words of the Torah and when it comes to the letters of the Torah. That the middle of, if you count the words, so it's actually, there's an even amount of numbers, and the middle two words is Darosh Darash Moshe. Okay, there was a story about on the Yom HaShmini. There's two middle words because it's even number. The letters.
It sounds like three words.
With it, Darosh Darash. No, that's not the middle word. Oh. The Darosh Darash was the middle word, and so the Darosh Darash is the middle of the words, and the letters it's an odd number of letters. So in this week's parasha it also talks about kashrut. And in the halachot of kashrut about the different animals. So one of the pesukim talks about anything that walks on its stomach, that doesn't have legs. So it says kol halech al gachon. So the vav of gachon is the middle letter of the Torah. That's why actually in the Sefer Torah it's actually enlarged. It's written big. It's a big vav. That vav, that large vav in gachon, that symbolizes the middle of the letters of the Torah, because that is the center. The center, the core of the Torah is in this vav, in this darash. So on that inspiration of like that this is the essence, that this is the middle of the Torah, and what that represents to us. So Reb Tzadok, he comes to expound upon the passage in the Gemara. That the Gemara says as follows: Kol Mekayem Shalosh Sudos b'Shabbos, a person that fulfills having 3 meals on Shabbos, so his nitzo migimel paranios. So he is saved from 3 different kinds of punishments: mechav leMashiach, me dina shel Gehenim, or me mechamas Magog. Okay, these are the three punishments, the 3 bad things which could come upon a person. Mechav leMashiach is the pangs of Mashiach, that before Mashiach is coming, so then there's going to be some kind of pain in this world, some kind of difficult times in this world. There doesn't say that we've already passed it, that the Holocaust was actually the Chav Mashiach, that we don't have to worry about this anymore. And Gog and Magog is a different thing. We have on the in these classes we gave 3 classes on Mechamas Gog and Magog. You can look about that, and also with Gog and Magog. Also, there's a whole dispute: has it come yet or has it not come yet? That I know there's out there there's rabbis that like to use fair tactics of better do tshuva now because Gog and Magog is coming. It's gonna be so bad. Everybody's gonna die. Only the real tzaddikim, the ones that their skirt is all the way down to there. That's the only people that are gonna be saved. And but the Babich Rebbe said that Mechamas Gog is also behind us. Anyway, whatever that is, and the third is, of course, is the most famous probably is Gehenna. is that the experience of hell, and so a person that says if you don't want to have these 3 problems, if you want to save yourself from all the problems of Chav Mashiach and all the problems of Gog and Magog and all the problems of Gehenna, so the easy way out is to just have 3 meals on Shabbos. And if you have 3 meals on Shabbos, so then you're going to be saved from these 3 things. So he wants to understand what is this? What does this really mean on a deeper level? What does it mean that? And so he starts by explaining that when we're talking about these different partners, these different punishments, these different negativities, these different dangers that come into the world. So of course, this doesn't just mean that the generation of Mashiach is going to actually have Gog and Magog. That it means that in every generation there is a certain element of Gog and Magog. In every generation there's a certain element of Chav Mashiach, and in every generation there's a certain element of Gehenna. Rabbi Nachman once said that that the Welt sagt, that the world says that they know that there's an Olam Hazeh, and they believe in Olam Haba. I, on the other hand, Olam Haba I know that there's Olam Haba. Olam Hazeh, I believe that there's Olam Hazeh. I can't say I know. Everything I've seen until now is hell. But I believe that somewhere out there's a Olam Hazeh. So there's an element of Gehenna in this reality. There's an element of Gog and Magog in this reality. There's an element of Chayil Mashiach in this reality. And he bases this on the passage that says the Kol Mei Sheyesh Lo Da'as, the person that has understanding, Ki'ilu Nivdei Beis Hamikdash B'yamav. Anybody that has true understanding, so it's as if the temple was rebuilt in his days. So if you have das, then you're connected to this reality of tikkun, this reality of redemption. And so in that reality of redemption, there is this reality of the pangs that coming before that redemption, and there is this reality of the Machavas Gog and Magog that in that reality of redemption, and there's the reality of Gehenna in the reality that we have right now in our soul. So we are going through these different problems, these different punishments, these different trials and tribulations of Gog and Magog, of Chayil Mashiach, and of Gehenna. So really, he explains that it all comes down to the very basic building blocks of evil in the world, the very basic things that all of the bad stuff in the world comes from. That the Mishnah Pirkei Avos tells us that there's 3 negative traits that Matzia Mes Adam Min Ha'olam, that can take a person out of this world, and that is Hataiva, Hakina, V'Hataiva, V'Hakavod. Kina means jealousy, Taiva means lust, and honor. Okay, so these are the 3 negative character traits. Honor, the arrogance, and the ego, and so these are the three avot hatumah. These are the sources of all evil in the world, of all impurity in the world, and so he says that these 3 elements of negativity, they actually were the 3 first falls, the first 3 breaks in this world. That the first is a bit Kabbalistic. He says that the first element of ego, of a feeling of that it's all about me, is actually in a spiritual realm, and that is that before this world existed, so it says that there was something called Shvirat HaKelim. Shvirat HaKelim means that the breaking of the vessels, that everything in this world, all existence, so Kabbalah explains that it has 2 different energies, that without either of these, they can't exist, the world can't exist, and that is light and vessels. That light is the energy, and vessels is the expression of that energy. Okay, so, like on our existence, we have a body and a soul, but the soul is the light, and the body is the vessel. So, in every element, in every idea, there's the energy of the idea, and there's the vessel, there's the expression of the idea, and even before you say it, there's a way of thinking about it. The fact that we have concepts, that we have constructs inside our brains, that itself is a vessel. So, there's layers upon layers of what it means to have light and vessels, and in the very first thought of creation, so in that very first thought, there was also a level of light and vessels, and it says in Kabbalah that in that very first thought of creation, so there was a problem with the vessels, and because there was a problem with the vessels, so there was a lot of light, and the vessels weren't good enough, and that's why we had this reality called Shvirat HaKelim, and that is the breaking of the vessels. And because of that breaking of the vessels, so that caused sparks of Kedusha, the sparks of light, that were supposed to be expressed in the world, it caused them to fall down to the lower levels of Tumah, to the lower levels of existence. And part of our mission in this world is to find those sparks, to find those fallen sparks of Kedusha, and to elevate them. Okay, so that's called Shvirat HaKelim. So he says an interesting thing. Tzadok says that where's the source of the Shvirat HaKelim? The source of the Shvirat HaKelim is that what does it mean to be a bad vessel? Why were they? Hashem made them to be a vessel. Why weren't they a good vessel? So he says that to be a vessel, so you need to have the mentality that my entire essence is simply to express some other light. As much as you're interested in yourself, as as much as you want to be your own thing, so then you're not a good vessel. So he says that really the source of the Shvirat HaKelim was that the problem with the vessels was that they had this desire to be their own thing. And that's an element of ego, that's an element of arrogance. And the first breaking in the history of creation was actually on the spiritual. It's the deepest, is the most esoteric of the breakings, and it had to do with arrogance. The next breaking was in the sin of the tree of knowledge, in the Tzadok. And the Tzadok, it was about eating something. It was about something that they looked something so savory, looked something so delicious. According to the Midrash, so there was an element of sexual lust as well, that the snake wanted to defile Chava, and it had that sexual lust as well, and so everything surrounding the Tzadok was about lust, was about ta'ava, and then the next break was Cain and Hevel. Cain and Hevel, the Cain killed Hevel. Why did he kill Hevel? Because he was jealous, right? So jealousy, the midah, the character trait of jealousy, so it can express itself in the form of anger. It can turn itself into anger, and anger turns into murder. And that's the third tumah, that third negative character trait. So that is the third breaking of the world. So this is kina, jealousy, which is connected to anger, which is connected to murder. Taiva, lust, whether it's lust for food, whether it's sexual lust, and kavod is about arrogance. It's about ego. It's about needing to be the center, to be the focus. So he says that every Shabbos we're actually fixing all of these three problems, and we're fixing the world. We're bringing the world to a place of perfection, to a place of rectification, and we're doing this with the strength, with the energy of one of the three avot, one of the three forefathers, and by doing so we're escaping these three paraniot, these three dangers, these three punishments, so to speak, of Gehenna, Chavdei Mashiach, and Gog and Magog. So it starts with Friday night, with Friday night meal. That the first meal is the night meal, and night, we know that night is the time of judgment. Okay, night is the time of din, and so that's why the forefather that's connected with the night meal is Yitzchak. So Yitzchak is corresponding to the night meal, to Friday night. So what is Yitzchak Avinu? What is his character trait? So it says that Yitzchak Avinu, so his thing is Yirat Shamayim, is Gevura. And that's actually very appropriate that we're speaking about this tonight, because right now we've just entered the second week of Sfirat HaOmer, and the second week of Sfirat HaOmer is Gevura, which is the character trait of Yitzchak, and tonight is actually Tiferet of Gevura, which is really the essence of Gevura. And so Gevura literally means might, and the Mishnah tells us that Ezu Gibor Hakovesh et Yitzra, that the true might is the ability to have self-restraint, to have self-discipline, to be able to hold yourself back. Shalom. So true Gevura, if you want to be a mighty person, so it's the ability to just say no. Just say no. That's what Gevura is all about. So that's the character trait of Yitzchak Avinu. So that's what we're doing when we're with the Friday night meal is about Yitzchak Avinu. So when anybody asks you, "Can I come for Friday night?" So just say no. Just so that when somebody annoying asks you, "Can I come Friday night?" and your knee-jerk reaction is to say, "Of course not. Why do I want you?" So say no to that and say, "Of course you can come." So, but that's not a view. I'm serious.
And we'll see you Friday night.
So yeah. So this midah of Yitzchak. So this is Kneged the Friday night meal, And this is connected, this is corresponding to Chavle Mashiach. Okay? Now, so Yitzchak is about Stein. So what's the opposite of Yitzchak? So there's this famous idea that in all of the avot, so there's a certain proper way to express their midah and there's a certain improper way to express their midah. So Yitzchak, his first son, literally, was Esav, right? So Esav, he took the bad, the psolat, the negativity of that trait of Gevurah, the negativity of might, and so that's what came out in Esav. That Esav was a murderer. Esav was a hunter, and his thing was murder, and Yitzchak tells him at the end of his life that al charbachat yichyeh, and all of he's a bloodthirsty energy. Okay, so this is the negative expression of Gevurah is expressed actually in Yaakov Avinu, in Esav. I'm sorry, and so when we're talking about Yitzchak, so he is the tikkun, he is the rectification of kinah, of jealousy. Right? Esav hates Yaakov because Yaakov is so awesome, because Yaakov is so holy, and so he's jealous of him. That's why he wants to kill him the whole time, and that's why the descendants of Esav are in the Christian church, and the Christian church they're super jealous of the Jewish people because we're the chosen nation, and so that's why they hate us so much, and that's why they make up these whole theories of that that really Hashem left you, and now He loves us, and so of course have to mention that this is the Pope just died, and he was actually good for the Jews. He said in the doctrine of Christianity. So Francis said a very amazing thing that until Francis, so they believed that in the end of days, so everybody has to become Christian, and he came to he made a change in the Christian theology that there will be a place for the Jews at the end of, right? It was him, right? That there will be a place. The Jews are the exception. The Jews are the exception that you can get your, what do they call it? Salvation. You get your salvation.
He called us. Said Israel's committing genocide.
So okay, so that just means he was woke. You know? So anyway, so now that the Catholic Church is falling down, so B'ezrat Hashem, this is paving the way for Mashiach to come, and Islam is next, you know. So anyway, so the kinna is represented by the Christian Church, and that's why they're so murderous. And that's all, like the whole Crusades was about just like killing us as heretics, and so Yitzchak, here's the tikkun against this. Now why is this connected to Chavle Mashiach? So he brings that the biggest problem that's going to be before Chavle Mashiach, that before Mashiach comes, is there's going to be disagreements, there's going to be arguments, there's going to be a lot of fighting. That's what he says Chavle Mashiach is. He brings the Gemara that says that B'dor ben David Bar, in the generation of Mashiach, so there's going to be a categoria b'tamin chachamim. There's going to be a unique thing that people are going to hate Torah scholars more than ever before. More than ever before. So we certainly experience this now. Never like it's been like this for the past I don't know, like 20 years or so. It's like it's been a big thing in Israeli culture that the hatred that they have towards Charedim, that the hatreds that they have towards people who are learning, and they like parasites, etc., and like mishtantim, and like the all these names it's very clear that it's all excuses. It's like, if it wasn't so clear for the first 20 years, now it's become very, very clear that really it's not just about that they don't like the people who are learning and that they aren't going to the army. It's that they actually don't like that they're learning in the first place. They actually don't like that they're religious in the first place, and it's all a disguise for their hatred against Torah, right? So Tzadok says that where does it come from? Where does it come from? This energy that Hashem tells us that in the generation before Mashiach comes, so there's going to be a hatred against Torah, and Torah scholars. So it's because the Torah scholars themselves, they have the exact same problem. Because the Torah scholars themselves have a certain sinat chinam, they have a certain hatred against each other, and and that's which is really one of the big themes of Sfirat HaOmer that we're in right now. That right now we're in a time of mourning. We're mourning over the students of Rabbi Akiva that passed away during this time, and it says that the reason why the students of Rabbi Akiva passed away is because that they didn't show respect to one another. Right? So a bad Torah scholar is a Torah scholar that uses his cunning, uses his intellect to be able to outsmart other people and to show other people why I'm better than you and why that I'm right and you're wrong, and it says that on the other hand, a true Torah scholar, a rectified Torah scholar, so it says that Tamid Chachamim Mabim Shalom Ba'olam, that they're the ones that bring peace into the world. That a true Torah scholar is actually a person that's able to see the truth in everyone and to bring everyone together because he's so out of the box, because he's so able to see from different perspectives, so because he's so not jealous of other people, so he's just like that's why he's able to see other perspectives. That's why he's actually able to bring peace. So the element of Yitzchak is an element of bringing peace, and this is the might of Yitzchak, which is an element of self restraint. So it's the restraint to say that it doesn't have to be my way. It doesn't have to be my way. That there can also be room for others. That's the biggest restraint. The restraint of my ego is the restraint of my desire to conquer is that there is room for others. There's room for others, and that is the shalom. That is the essence of shalom. That if you want to have peace in the world, so people have this false image of what peace looks like. The peace is going to be when we're all saying the same thing. That's the Muslim vision of peace. That if you don't think like us, then we will kill you. And the Jewish vision of peace is that, you know what they say, the two Jews, three opinions. And then there was a rabbi that was giving class and explaining that you know what they say, there's 2 Jews, 3 opinions. And so they I heard it's 3 Jews, 4 opinions. And so that Torah scholars are all about being able to see different perspectives, and that is shalom. It doesn't need to be my way. That there's always the most famous disputes in Torah are the disputes between Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai. So the Gemara says a fascinating thing, that the reason why we pass on like Beit Hillel is because Beit Hillel, whenever they were teaching Torah, so first they would share the opinions of Beit Shammai. They would say that the halacha, the what is the question, what is the halacha is in such and such. So they would not, my way or highway was I don't want to tell you. And my friends that's Beit Hillel, they would say, guys, so that there's a question whether or not you can open bottles on Shabbos, and so my friends Beit Shammai, they say that you shouldn't. We say that it's okay. They would always. It was important to them that you should know that there's 2 ways. It's not there's not only one flavor of Judaism, but there's also other opinions, and it was critical. And that's why we pass on like them, because they had this understanding that there's not just one way of looking at things. So that's why the halacha was like them. So that's what it means that Tamid Chachamim Mabim Shalom Ba'olam, that the ability to have self-restraint, that the midah of Yitzchak Avinu, which is the first meal, the Friday night meal. So his character trait is the ability to have self-restraint, not need to have his way. And that's why he brings peace, and that's why he is the tikkun to Esav. That's why he is the one who saves us from kin'ah, from jealousy, and he is the one who saves us from Chavli Mashiach. Okay, now we come to the morning meal. The morning meal is the Shabbos morning is connected to Avraham Avinu. The morning, Kabbalistically, so the morning is the time of Chesed. And that's why Avraham Avinu, he's Shachris. He's the one who made Shachris, and so that's why the morning energy is the energy of Avraham, and so Abraham's tikkun is that the opposite of Avraham, the opposite of Chesed, meaning the negatively expressed Chesed, is the energy of lust, because Chesed is when I want to connect, when I see somebody in the street who's needy, and I don't ignore him. I need to connect with him. Because I need to connect with him, I need to share, I need to give him. So Chesed is all about connection. So the negative expression of Chesed is connecting in the wrong way. And that's sexual immorality. That's Gilei Arayot. And that is that the negative elements of Avraham, of Chesed, so they came out in Yishmael. And Yishmael, so his thing is niyuf. His thing is sexual immorality. And I told you last time that I googled that the number one reason for divorce in the Muslim community is infidelity, and so
infidels committing infidelity.
Mm-hmm. And so the Chazal say that their midah is niyuf, their midah is sexual immorality. So Avraham is the tikkun to that. Okay, so now this is connecting to Gehenna. Reb Tzadok says that the third punishment, so to speak, is Gehenna, and so there's Gemara in Eruvin that says that why is it called Gehenna? Because Gai means a valley, means going down. So the Gemara says that it's called Gehenna because Hakol Yardim Lisham, everybody goes down to there Al Iske Hinam, because of Hinam. So what is Hinam? So Rashi says Hinam is a reference to sexual immorality, and so why is Hinam? Why is this a reference to sexual immorality? So there's very interesting pasuk that it says that when they were complaining about the man, so it says that we remember that we don't like this man. We remember it was so good back in Egypt. So we remember the fish that we used to eat, fish chinam. And so Rashi says the chinam is a reference to that the chinam means that they were doing it with sexual immorality. And I once heard that there was some that this was actually
they were eating fish with sexual immorality.
So that the fish is a reference to chinam. It's a reference to the fact that they were promiscuous sexually back in Egypt.
Okay.
And so what's the connection with fish? So somebody once said that historically, in ancient times, in ancient Egypt, so there was this historically, this is this thing that the prostitutes had something with fish. That was the way that they would function. That was the transactions were with fish. And that's why the Torah uses the word fish to hint to the sexual immorality that was going on in Egypt. So the Torah uses the word chinam with reference to sexual immorality, and that's why when it says Gehenna, everyone goes down because of that. Okay, so this is so Gehenna. Rabbi Nachman said that it's the father of all lusts. The father of all lusts is the sexual immorality, and so that's what. So Gehenna is talking about that, and so Abraham himself is connected to the tikkun, to sexual immorality, because Abraham was the first one who brought down the mitzvah of Brit Milah, the Brit Milah of circumcision, which the idea of circumcision is that a person should have holiness in the place of sexuality. Okay, that's why Abraham represents this. So now, I want to think a little bit about why the Torah calls sexual immorality chinam, calls it emptiness. So that chinam literally means for free. If something is chinam, it means it's for free. So something that's free means it has no value, right? So the Gemara says that if you the Gemara says you should beware of things that are for free. Something that's for free, so it's worth nothing. What? Okay. Free Palestine. Okay. so if chinam means that it's empty, means it's empty. So Rabbi Nachman has a whole Torah about this. That we spoke about this when in the classes about Sichos Haran. So Rabbi Nachman teaches that the Yetzer Hara, so he's like this Pied Piper that he walks around with a clenched fist, and he says, come, I have exactly what you want. It's in here. Come, run after me, everything. And he says, you too, you can run after me. And he gets the whole world to run after him, and they're all running, saying, come, it's here. And then after they finish running after him for 80, 90 years, so then he turns around and says, nothing here. And so that's the way the Yetzer Hara functions, is that he makes you think that he has something that you want, and then at the moment that you would once he got you to run, you would waste your entire life and do everything to get it. So then he says, nothing here. And so Rabbi Nachman says that this is absolutely true when it comes to sexual sins. That at the moment that you think you've gotten what you wanted, you say, that was so dumb. That was what was I thinking? This is so that he writes about this, that a person can be so dumb that for a fertile shahana, for 15 minutes of pleasure, so he'll throw away his entire life in this world, his entire life in the next world. It's just so emptiness, so nothing. And so he writes that the Yetzer Hara is his main power is in the koach hadimyon. It's about he helps us. He uses our imagination. That he helps us imagine that life will be better if I have this and this and this, and it's all emptiness. It's the opposite of reality. Okay, so he paints this alternative reality, and through this he gets us to sin. Through this he gets us to make mistakes, and it's all through this chinam. It's all through this. He has this sugar-coated emptiness, and that's how he gets us to run after him like a Pied Piper. So that's why. So that's the second meal. The meal of Abraham. The meal of Abraham is corresponding to the midah of chesed, which is corresponding against taiva, which is the second enemy, the second tumah, and that's keneged Gehenna. And then we come to the third meal shashos, Seudah Shlishit. So this is corresponding to Yaakov Avinu. And this is corresponding to Gog and Magog, and this is corresponding to kavod. Kavod is the third midah. The kavod is about ego, honor. Literally, kavod means honor, right? So the negative character trait of kavod means the desire for ego, the desire for self-centeredness, the desire to be full of yourself. So it's the most delicate, because a person could conquer his lust. A person can conquer his anger, and he could still have this problem that he's full of himself. There's people that they actually work hard at themselves. They used to be angry people, and they used to be lustful people, and they actually, and it's amazing that they fixed themselves. They became better people. They became people that they're able to control themselves, and they're able to have self-restraint. But they still have this problem that they're full of themselves. They still have this problem that they're so proud of themselves that they made this 180-degree turn that they think that they're God's gift to reality, and so he says that the part of this midah, part of arrogance, is hitnasut. Hitnasut means that I think I'm better than you. Okay, the people that walk around with this mentality of that I'm holier than thou, and this is a telltale sign that the person is tainted, is poisoned by this midah of kavod, and he says that it's something which is, you have to dig deeper in order to uncover this negative thing, and that's why he says that Gog and Magog is connected to this, because the word Gog was the king of Magog. So Gog is Gimel, Vav, Gimel. So Gimel and Gimel means Gag. Gag means the roof. It's like the being on the roof, meaning like you think you're at the top of the world. Okay, and Vav, he says, Vav is the life source of this Gag. Okay, so he's going to explain in a moment what's the element of Vav. So So he says that in order to counteract this poison of ego, so that's how we have Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu, so he calls him, the Torah calls him the Beno HaKatan. He was the smaller son, and he had this element of being small. That's why we see in the Torah that Yaakov Avinu, he's the one who says, Katonti mikol chasadim. He tells Hashem, like, I'm so unworthy. You've done so much good to me, and I don't deserve it. Like he thinks so little of himself before Hashem, which is this midah of anava. So he says that really the source of Yaakov's power is in the midah of emet. The midah of emet. The pasuk says, "Titen emet liYaakov, chesed liAvraham." So the Torah says that Yaakov Avinu was connected to the midah of emet. So the midah of Yaakov, Kabbalistically, so this is going to be next week's sphira. Here's the sphira of Tiferet. Okay, so Tiferet is all about balance. Tiferet is connected to beauty. Literally, the word Tiferet means beauty, but beauty is all about balance, right? If you have, you could have a beautiful nose, but if it takes up 2/3 of your face, so that's not so beautiful, right? So beauty is about balance, and it's about being symmetrical, and it's about everything being in the right way, and so there's certain ratios that are considered beautiful to the human eye, and so Tiferet is all about balance, and that's why really the midah of Tiferet is to take chesed and gevura, to take that sometimes I'm supposed to say yes and sometimes I'm supposed to say no, and to be able to balance between those. And that's a person who's a beautiful person is a person that is able to know that sometimes I need to say yes and sometimes I need to say no, and to have that perfect golden ratio of to know when I'm supposed to say yes and when I'm supposed to say no. That's a beautiful person is the person who has the balance between chesed and gevura. So that's the midah of Yaakov. And that's why it says that Yaakov, because he balances, so he actually includes both. That's why he has elements of Abraham inside of him, and he has elements of Yitzchak inside of him. That's why he's all inclusive, and that's why they call him the Bechir Sheba'avot. He's the most perfect of the Avot, and he's considered the Bria Chatichon. He's considered the one that connects from Minakatza Lakatza. He's all inclusive. He connects the entire world. So that's why he's connected to the letter Vav. Because Vav, literally Vav means and. Because Vav is a connector, and literally and graphically, it's a hook, and graphically a Vav is a line. A line that starts up and goes down, so he connects between the top and the bottom, so that the Vav is the thing that connects the top to the bottom. Okay, so I go from the very top of the top to the bottom of the bottom, so he's the one that's able to connect everything and make everything connected and all-inclusive. That's why he's connected to the midah of emet, because emet is about being all-inclusive, and that is why emet is aleph, mem, and taf. The first letter, the middle letter, and the last letter. Because really, when you're connected to emet, so you're connected to the whole picture, right? The truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, right? The truth. If you just have a little piece of the truth, then you don't have the truth, right? That being connected to the truth means that you have the whole picture. So that's why Yaakov, because he's the truth, he needs to have the whole picture. He needs to know exactly what chesed is about. He has to know exactly what gevura is about, and exactly how to balance them. So you have to be after everything and to be all inclusive. So that's the midah of emet. So now, because he's emet, that's why he's also connected to the midah of Avraham. We said that is the midah of Avraham. The midah of Yitzchak is about being priests. how is emet about peace? So the Zohar says that truth and peace are interconnected. It says in one place that emet ve'emunah kasher da b'da, that they're interconnected, that they're tied to one another. And another place it says emet ve'emunah chad havi, that they are one. So what does it mean? What does it mean that the truth and peace are actually one? So he explains that if you're actually seeking truth, that's the way to come to peace. But how are we going to bring peace into the world? The way to bring peace into the world is to bring a deep desire for truth. Because the only reason why people disagree is because they actually aren't searching for truth. What's the opposite of searching truth? Searching victory. If it's about ego, if it's about me, so then it's not about the truth, it's about me being right. Whereas a person who actually seeks truth, and he's able to forfeit his ego, so that's the way to come to peace. If you have two people that are arguing and both are actually seeking truth, so then at the end of the conversation they're going to say, well, I do understand where you're coming from, because there is value to what you're saying also. And the other guy's going to say, I do see where you're coming from too. Like, I didn't think about it until now, but I'm so happy that we're disagreeing because I see that there is truth to what you're saying as well. And I don't think that you're crazy. I don't think that you're Hitler. I see that there is two ways to look at it. And I still think I'm right, but I don't think that you're crazy, right? And so that's how the desire for truth, the searching for truth, is actually what enables us to come to peace. Okay, so really, that's why Yaakov, he also has the midah of Yitzchak, right? Now, Yaakov, he also has the midah of Abraham. He also has the midah of Abraham because we said that that lust and the desire for pleasure, so it all comes from not wanting something of substance, right? A person, the biggest Rabbi Noach Weinberg, so he has a famous class, which was his pitch to come to Eshet Torah, his pitch to come to be religious, and that is the 5 levels of pleasure. Okay, so the 5 levels of pleasure it's all about that if you really want pleasure, so you have to become a connoisseur of pleasure, and if you want to become a connoisseur of pleasure, you have to understand that there's higher levels of pleasure, because really all of the pleasures you thought was pleasure, all the pleasures that you can buy with money, that's the lowest level of pleasure. There's so much greater levels of pleasure, like that the pleasure that you're looking for, that if you think the pleasure is all about filling your body with dopamine, so then you're going home after the appetizer. You're going after the salad. There's a steak afterwards that you're missing. That's the pleasure of love, the pleasure of satisfaction, the pleasure of God is something so much more real than the pleasure of steak and the pleasure of sex. These things are like, if you want something real, want something amiti, if you want something truthful, so then don't look for taivas. Taivas is not going to get you anything real. It's going to get you a pleasure for a couple of minutes, and it's not going to be something that you can really, really depend on. Something that you can really, really, really give you ultimate satisfaction. True satisfaction. So first of all, it includes peace. It includes the way that it overcomes the kinna, it overcomes the fighting, and it overcomes taiva, it overcomes the lust, and it overcomes Yishmael, and so it includes the midah of Avraham, and it's its own midah, and that is the midah of humility. And so he says that this emet, this is also, he says, this is hinted to in the Torah itself, because the first time that Hashem revealed himself to the world, so the first word that he said was Anochi Hashem Lekacha. So Hashem's revelation starts with the letter Aleph. At the very end of the Torah, so the last word in the Torah is Lenei Kol Yisrael. So it ends with the Lamed. So that's the next after Lamed is the letter Mem. So the beginning. So the written Torah is from Aleph to Lamed. Then the Mishnah. So it starts with Me'ematai. It starts with Mem. So the oral Torah starts with Mem. It ends the very last Mishnah in Uktzin. So it ends Hashem Yivarech et Amo Shalom. So it ends with a Mem. And then, so what's after the Mishnah? So after Mem, so then it ought to be Tuf, right? So he gets flustered over here. He says that like there's an idea that Tuf represents the Torah of the world to come, but the first thing that came to my mind was that Chassidus all starts with Tanya. And this whole thing that the Alter Rebbe, he really wanted to start the book Tanya with the word Tanya, because it's a very fascinating thing. The Gemara that he brings in the first line of Tanya, it doesn't say Tanya there. It's a strange version of the text that he puts in the word Tanya. It's clear that he wanted the Sefer to start with the word Tanya. So it could be that he wanted that the Chassidus, which is the inner teachings of the Torah, the hidden teachings of Torah, the Pnimiut Torah, so it's connected with Taf. But the truth is that even if you're not Chabad, so the most simple expression of the Pnimiut Torah is the Zohar, right? And so I was in a Kabbalah yeshiva today, and I asked one of the Kabbalists there, tell me something, which came first, the Zohar or the Tikkunei Zohar? So Tikkunei Zohar, it's like this separate volume of the Zohar, which is I was curious which one chronologically came first. So he said that historically, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he first revealed the Tikkunei Zohar. So I said that's awesome, because the first word in Tikkunei Zohar is actually Tikkunei Zohar, which starts with a Taf. So the first expression of the Pnimiut Torah is with Taf. Okay, so the beginning of the written Torah is with Aleph, and then the oral Torah is with Mem, and the hidden Torah is with Taf. Okay, so the Emet is permeating the entire span of Torah, and so this circles back to our Parsha, because this is the middle of something is its essence. The middle of something is its soul. Like there's an idea that Shabbos is the soul of the week. Really Shabbos is in the middle. Really, that there's the 3 days before Shabbos is the days before Shabbos, and 3 days after Shabbos is after Shabbos, and really Shabbos is the middle, and that's expressed in the fact that there's actually six directions. That there's north, south, east, west, up, down, and then there's the middle. And so Shabbos represents the middle, the place from which all the other directions from which they all come out. And so Shabbos is the soul from which everything comes out. So it's the thing that actually, the center is the thing that connects everything. And so in this week's parsha, so it's the center of the words and it's the center of the letters. So Reb Tzadok says that the center of the words is Darosh Darash Moshe. Darosh Darash, these Darosh Darash. What does it mean, Darosh Darash? So literally it's that he expounded and he expanded. So what's the double expounding? So first think your way, and then think what your opponent might be thinking. Okay? The ability to see beyond yourself, the ability to see the truth in what your friends are saying. So that's Darash Darash. That is the center midah, the thing that's going to bring you to kill your ego, the thing that's going to bring you to this, to overcome this, the kavod, the overcome the mechamas gog umagog. So this humility. So that is Darash Darash. And the gachon is the vav. Is the vav that once you're able to destroy your ego, so then you become all-inclusive. So then, because it's not about me anymore, so then now I can be at the top of the top, I can be at the bottom of the bottom. That's the gachon, the vav of gachon. That's why the vav is his letter. And the vav also, the gachon, he writes that who is the one that was destined to be on his stomach for all eternity? So that's the snake. So the snake, that's going back to that first sin of the tree of knowledge, which is all about ta'ava, which is all about lust. And so through this desire to be real, to be from the beginning to the end, for the desire for truth, for desire for reality, so that's how we overcome the Yetzer Hara for lust as well. So this is what Shalosh Shabbos is all about. This is what the end of Shabbos is all about. This is what brings everything together, that brings the world into one. That's why we say in Mitchan Shabbos, we say, Ata Echad v'Shimcha Echad umi ka'amcha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. So we say at the end of Shabbos, so this is the time that everything comes together, that there's a unity in the reality, that Hashem, you are one, and your name is one. This is a reference to the Torah. The Torah is Hashem's name, so it's Hashem's expression in the world, and we are the third expression of that truth, that there's Hashem's reality, the Torah's reality, and the Jewish people's reality, that they're all intertwined. They're all different expressions of the very same thing. And at the end of Shabbos, so because through this humility, through connecting to the midah of Yaakov Avinu, so we're able to become one with the universe, to become one with reality, to become one with truth. And this is how we overcome the Mechamas Gog and Magog. So I bless us that we should all be able to follow in our footsteps of our fathers, to be able to overcome these negative character traits, and ultimately it's all about forgetting about ourselves. What it all boils down to is, if you want to succeed in life, so you just really need to forget about yourself. You just forget. It's not about you. It's not about the way you think the things need to go. It's not about the way that you think that things need to be. That just it's not about winning. It's not about being right. It's just about truth. It's just about the ultimate reality, the true reality that it's and through connecting to that true reality, so that you experience the destruction of your ego. You destroy the blending in, the melting in to this higher reality, and that's where the world is going to come to peace. That's where the world is going to come to truth, to have the values straight, and to escape all of these evils. And that's what's going to bring the ultimate tikkun of the Beis Hamikdash, of the Geula B'ezrat Hashem b'mehera.